If you haven't seen our previous electrical setup video, go and watch that first, as I give you a rundown of all of the kit that we're using here. But to quickly summarize, we've teamed up with iTechworld and have gotten the best of the best for all of our off-grid setup. We've got two 240 amp lithium batteries, a 3000 watt inverter, a 40 amp DC charger, and 600 watts of solar on the roof. Basically, we're an absolute battery powerhouse, and now it's time to install a whole lot of it. Hey YouTube, if you're new here, we're Ben and Shelley, and we're turning this empty van into our dream home on wheels. However, this isn't our first van, but this one's bigger, smarter, and a bit more luxe. Let me catch you up on where we're up to. We've done all the installation, chucked some huge solar panels on the roof, built all of our cabinets, bed and kitchen, and made some beautiful arch recesses in our walls. With the help of Shelley's dad Terry on the tools, we've almost finished building our ultimate off-grid van, so stay tuned.
Right, so we're finally at the starting. I think we've got it all sorted in our heads what we are doing. So we've come up with a plan of attack. So we've got the wires off the edge of the inverter and the fuse in here. And then all the wires are either in this box or this next box here. So what we've done is these little ones down here actually go straight to a charging box, which is going to be really snazzy. So these are just a bunch of USB ones. So we've drilled a hole and put 4 of those through, and what we're going to do is we're going to start by wiring these straight up to the fuse box here. So this one's ready to go. This is a 12 box fuse box with a built-in buzz bar, so that's going to be really helpful. And these ones actually came with a little plug so you can just pop them straight into the right positive and negative, positive being red. So now what we can do is we cut them to the right size, add a little terminal on the end, and we're good to go as we get started, which is very exciting. With that fuse box, you need to make sure you're keeping track of what you're putting on where. So you remember, it's good if you have a label maker. We can only have one for one day because we can just grab it from mum's work, but borrow it. So for now, I'm just writing a cross picture down, and we'll make sure we do up a big diagram of this after so we can have it on our laptop in case the stickers fall off or anything like that. But yeah, you don't want to forget what is what.
So this is all the chargers that are going into here. Started with them because that's a fairly simple place to start. I just figured these are the best one. This is the best spot to mount these. Use up the upper part of the fuse box. We've got plenty of wire here.
So you measure and cut?
Just measure and cut to where I went there. These are good electrician shears, but you could use a pair of side cutters, or these have got quite good wire cutters in them as well.
That's a crimper and a wire cutter, right?
That's a crimper, a wire stripper, and a wire cutter.
So we cut it, and then we go in and we strip the edge and then that lets the wire inside actually come out.
So you just pick the right size here, which you sort of just get used to it after a little while. My advice is go a little bit bigger if you're not sure, and then you can always go over it again. That just exposes enough wire.
And then why do you twist it?
Just to stop, so that when you feed it in, it doesn't spray out everywhere, because it's hopefully a nice tight fit through here.
The right size terminal lock.
Yep. For this size wire, that's the red. They have red, blue and green are the main ones. There's some blue ones. They will be the 16 gauge wire, and the yellow for the 12 gauge wire. You can put slightly bigger terminals on if you need to, but if you can get the right size, it's the best.
And then this is crimping.
This is crimping, so you notice
the right colour goes to the right.
Right colour. I've got these set up. Squeeze it nice and tight. Now that is probably good enough. However, I have just found that these crimpers here, if I then go over that and give that red to red, but see where I'm lining up with how the crimper actually folds up onto itself, and then I push that in, give it a good squeeze, and that just makes them really, really tight.
Can you show?
Yeah.
That's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you probably don't have to do that, but that's just what I do. With crimpers, there's a variety of different types of crimpers. I do find these ones are very good, but there are, like I say, you can just crimp it straight with that if you want as well.
Next step is to undo the bolt that you want to put it onto the fuse box, and put positive on the positive side, and then we do the exact same on the negative, which is the black lead, and put it on the negative pole, which is down the bottom.
Another tip is get a magnetic screwdriver or a screwdriver magnetizer.
So you don't drop things everywhere like we keep doing.
Yeah.
See one, do one, teach one. My turn. Measure. Always cut more. Better to have a bit extra than you think. So first step, cut. I'm not cutting anything else. Next step, strip. Just measure it, but we know it's this one. About a bit more than that, I think. Twist. Correct terminal lug. And just go so the wire is going through a little bit. Then we're going to crimp. So red to red. We're lining this up on the end. And then we crimp again with these ones. Pull test. Beautiful. So both the washers go in front of the lug. And it goes in. Ta-da! And now we're going to put the negative to here. That's it. So the next step is our DC, which we're starting to put in. So you need to know how to solder to put the plugs on the end. So the lugs on the end of this. What we've done is the wire that came with the kit was a good 2 meters longer. So we've chopped that with the wire cutters. And then we're going to go and add a different Anderson plug on the end. They're the plugs that allow it to go in and out with ease, and you can change it again in the future. But yeah, we'll show you how to solder and do that. Hot tip for your extra large wires. Big gauge wires, just use some bolt cutters. Goes through nice and clean, huh?
These bolt cutters have got a special wire cutter on them.
Oh, is that why you cut it down?
Yeah, that's why it's really good. The other bolt cutter end will work, but these
And
work
it
really
cuts
well.
it as a really nice line. So to add to the end for the Anderson plug, we got these bits. Often they come in the Anderson plug, but they were only they were the wrong gauge size, so we just bought these separately and soldered them on the ends. Step one for adding the Anderson to the DC is taking off the thermal liner on the outside and exposing there's 3 wires on this, a positive, negative, and an extra blue one, which is coming from the alternator of the car. So let's show you how to attach them.
Okay, so what I've got to do now, I'm going to solder. You can crimp these. I don't think I have the right crimper, so I'm going to solder them, which a lot of people prefer to do anyway. And just have to cut back the amount of insulation for that. Just be careful not to cut through the wires too much. Just check if this going to fit good. Just crimp off the end. So it's going to fit right down to there with hardly any insulation exposed. The trick with these is I'm going to fill them up with solder. So it's nice and hot and just stick the ends in. But we're fairly confined on space here.
In order to solder these onto the ends, we heated the outside of this, filled it with solder, and stuck it into the wire, and it dries super, super quickly. So you can see here that we've got our ends on there, and they're not going anywhere. And then these little points, if you can see them, they are what connect into the Anderson plug, allowing it to connect and disconnect. So the next step is to feed the plugs through this Anderson plug. Get them in place.
These are just ones that were cut off from the battery to the DC charger. So I'm just using these because they're already done, and they will hook onto this and go to the MPPT, the solar charger. That there has to sit and lock over that there.
You hear a click when it's in place.
Okay.
It's
You can see that's clicked in place then. So that's in there marked there negative. It's the black. And the red is the positive.
So what we're doing with the MPPT, there is 3 different sections, but we're going to use 2. There's solar input, which is obviously coming from solar panels on the roof, and that's the one we just put the ends on and put the Anderson plug on. Now we're connecting another Anderson plug to that. We needed a little bit of extra length, and then we're going to put them straight into this end here. So if you see up close, it's got the positive and a negative for the solar, and then to the right of that, it has the positive and the negative to the battery. So the solar will come in from the roof, from the sun, into this, which will then go from this into the battery, giving them charge. So to connect this end of this is our solar input into this, we'll
strip back a bit of wire.
Yeah, strip back, take that on, and it pushes up through here and screws in somehow. I'm not really sure how that bit's going to work, so let's find out together. So we put the Anderson on. Why do we put the Anderson on?
Well, Anderson for two reasons. Because we're going to have another Anderson plug coming out. 3 solar panels on the roof. 2 of them are linked together and going through the MPPT player. The MP.
We made a joke and it's an MP3 player and now it's an MPP3 and anyway, you get the gist.
So 2 of them are hooked up. These 2 that will generally go through the solar charger, and the other single one will go through the solar side, the solar input on the DC-DC charger. Now these will also be interchangeable, so if you ever have a solar panel not working or a charger issue, you can swap them around just to help you diagnose things on the road. It's a pretty simple little thing to do. Plus, if you want to do some work in the cabinet here on electrical, we're going to have a shut off on the negative side of the battery, but you'll still be able to be getting power in through the solar panels. So if you disconnect that, you just won't have any chance of getting of power coming in while you're working on it. So just a bit of a safety thing as well.
Good. The reason we are splitting the solar into 2 lots and a separate lot, because we have 3, is because if we have peak conditions, 40 amp hours, it's just a bit shy of what all of the 600 watts of solar is actually going to bring in. So bringing in 1 through the DC as well. Yeah, just going to make sure when we are in peak conditions, we are bringing in as much power as possible. And also, in case something breaks on the road, everything always breaks when you happen to be in the middle of nowhere, of course. So having an extra way to charge something or multiple ways of doing anything is always going to be beneficial on the road. What's the other reason, Dad?
I didn't allow enough wires to run them through.
But it worked out good in the end anyway. Right, so it's time to fit our MPPT3, whatever, solar charger. So we use the template. The right way around and drilled the 4 holes that we needed. And because it's against the wall, we can bolt through from the opposite side. Instead of just having small screws that it slips over, it's going to be a lot stronger with the bolts. If you can't do this, the little screws will be fine. But yeah, this is just going to be stronger. And because we've got the wall, why not? So you can see the holes here and here, and that's going to go through and it's going to sit on the wall nice here. So the reason we are putting the MPPT charger on this wall is because it's got a little screen, and the way the door opens, we're going to be able to see the screen against the wall. The DC has no screen, so that one's going to go on the ground. So we are also going to install our AC/DC charger or our 240 charger. What we're going to do is we're going to install that upside down on the roof of the charging box here. This one doesn't have a screen. It has some little buttons, so we will be able to see it if we kind of get down and have a look. We're not going to have to look at it too often. Again, this 240 charger is only for kind of emergencies. I don't foresee us using it that much. We've never had the option to plug into power before, so yeah, it's always just going to be a benefit. But yeah, so screwing that in down from the top, we'll show you how that's done. So these bolts, yeah, going to keep this super, super secure. It's not going anywhere. Easy to access and really good ventilation on either side. You can see we've got extra vent holes all going on up here. There's going to be a desk, so when that pulls out, there is going to be a huge space here just for all that extra ventilation. It will get hot in here when the inverter's on, but the inverter is basically to charge our laptops or to cook. So all we do is pull this desk out and it's got a big ventilation space. So with all the different charging capabilities we have, they all have their minimum ventilation spaces. So whether that's 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters on either side of it. So we've tried to give it as much as possible. Some were not quite there, but again, we've got the ventilation holes all throughout this charging hub, this power box. We are looking to add some like computer fans in there that automatically go on when the inverter's on, just to help keep the temperature down. But yeah, giving everything as much ventilation and space as possible is only going to make everything more efficient and last longer as well. So you can see with the AC/DC, the vent holes that are on the side there, they are facing either way and they've got a big gap beside them, so that's going to be really good ventilation for that, and also allow us to easily change anything over in the future if anything needs to be changed. One other thing to take note of with the AC/DC charger is to just make sure, I'm just looking at it now, that the fuses are accessible, because if that blows, what we're originally going to do is we were going to fit it the other way, which would mean those fuses would be really, really hard, or you'd have to take it off to get to. So just make sure they're, yeah, easily accessible for if they ever blow and you just need to change a fuse. It's a quick, easy fix, but it's not an easy fix if you don't forward plan. So a lot of stuff with this electrical is just thinking about what can go wrong, how to fix things on the road, and the best space for it to be in a small space, because you obviously don't want to allow a giant area for all of this electrical, because then you don't have room for everything else. Like, it is a van at the end of the day, but at the same time you want to allow enough room for ventilation and space, and so everything works. So there's a lot behind the scenes that you don't see with this electrical setup. A lot of standing around and thinking, and a lot of planning goes in before we even get to pulling out a drill or putting anything in. So there's a lot behind the scenes, but now we figured it all out, we've nutted it out. It's pretty simple, but getting here was not so simple. But we're getting to the end of it, so it's very exciting. Here comes the fiddly bit.
Yeah. Oh,
What'd you forget?
just bought something. Just something the other week.
I'm holding the solar charger and Dad just ran off excited. Oh, I just bought something. So I'm intrigued, because bolts are a bit fiddly, but I'm intrigued to see what he's got, because I just bought something the other week. And he's in the shed. Let's see. What? What does it actually do?
It scripts the nut. Right. And tighten it up. It's going to be too big to fit in there.
All that excitement, and it's too big.
Too big to fit in there.
He's gone again. I'm sitting here very awkwardly holding this. I don't want to drop it because we just got all the bolts through. Oh well. We'll come back to you when it's all bolted on. We're now connecting the wires from the MPPT, so the solar charger, through a fuse, which then goes into the battery. So they easily, once they've got their little lugs on the end, they easily just screw it out onto the fuse, which is a 60 amp hour fuse, and we'll show you how to change the MIDI fuses as well. When we've crimped the lug on the end, because they're a bit bigger, we've also put some heat shrink over it, so it's literally just a big bit. You push it over. So if you don't know, heat shrink is just, you can get them in all colors, black and red. Better to stick red on red and black on black, but we only had red at the black at the moment. So you just slide it over, you can use a hairdryer, but we've got a specific heat gun, and it shrinks it down and makes it nice and good, nice and solid. So this helps keep the conduction and the insulation around it, and it's just a bit better. So over to Terry's tips on how to change a MIDI fuse.
Here to show you before it's hooked up. Normally you'll have a wire going on there and one off the other end. While it's in situ, that terminal would be around that way. Just sit in there a bit better. Get yourself at the right size spanner, which will be this 14mm here. All you need to do is loosen it enough, and that the terminals can still all stay on there. So loosen it enough. Now one end just slides out, the other one pulls out. So when you put it back in,
I was just going to show it. So this is all it looks like. So you can buy these specific replacements. So this is a MIDI fuse holder, and this is the actual MIDI fuse. So you can just buy the fuse replacements, and it's a good idea to have them on the road.
have a couple of spares. These are 60 amp ones. In this particular setup, there's 360s and a 450
For the inverter.
for the inverter. So I'd say you'd want to have at least two 60s and two 450s as well. As you can see with that, this will then bolt down to here. The only thing to sort of be careful of when you're putting them back together is that you get the MIDI fuse back in between your terminal and the bottom washer. So there's two washers on there, so the terminal goes in there. So just leave that bottom washer. It's not a biggie if you don't, but it just lets that slide in and out. And the same thing at the top. Between that, leave one bottom washer on there, and the other one on the top. So the covers just click on and click off. There's another one sitting here. It's just like such.
It's just a protective cover.
So if you're setting them up, try and leave we've got enough that we can leave enough room here that you'll be able to slip the fuse in and out without disturbing any other fuses near you. So should be good.
What we've done is we've hooked all the positive from both fuse boxes, the DC, the AC, the MPPT, as well as not the inverter. The inverter is bypassing this. There's six things plugged onto them. We'll list them up here, but that goes onto a positive little caravan plug. That's definitely, you have to get the one that suits your setup. So this one is 250 amp hours. That wouldn't also take the inverter because the fuse for the inverter is 450 amp hours. So we're bypassing this. And of course we have all the negatives going to a negative caravan plug. So we'll show you that in there. They look like cute little octopus going around. But the next really important step is to put in the ground. Now, this stops you from electrocuting yourself, so it's definitely something you don't want to stuff around with. Ideally, you should do it in green wire. So what we're doing is connecting the earth, and it goes down and just screws onto the chassis. So we'll show you how that's done now. Our caravan plugs, 1 and 2. Working in a van, hey Dad, it's tricky.
I can't bend down and see it, and if I lay down I can't reach it.
So the earth is going to it's a small 12 gauge wire that's going to go on the inverter. And it's going to go on that thing at the back there.
Just go on that, just put a self-tapping screw through. So a relatively simple little thing, but very, very important.
So you just crimp it on, and it's just going to go to a metal part of the van.
Yeah, to the body, to the earth. Or it can go to the battery terminal, but of the van battery.
Because the chassis or the metal part of the van is right next to where we're going, we are just putting that through, putting a lug on the end, and then a self-tapping screw, and that's going to earth it. Relatively simple, but yeah, like Dad said, extremely important. So let's get that earthed. How does that work?
Hey?
No, like actually, how does that work? Just because it's metal. It means when you touch the van, it doesn't.
Yes. Yeah, because it's the earth leakage RCD, a residual current device, is an earth leakage thing. It detects earth leakage, and if it detects that there's there's a wire touching your van somewhere, then when you touch the van, it detects that and it shuts the power off.
Okay, so you won't get electrocuted.
So you won't get electrocuted.
Right. So, what the hell is going on behind me? We have all of our solar charger, AC and DC all installed. They're not wired up completely yet, but what we do have is we have the wires from everything going to our caravan plugs. So we're using a caravan plug, which means we've got a positive and a negative one, and that allows us to go to the terminals, so the fuse terminal box, and just have one lead that goes straight to that through a busbar. So that's allowing it just to be a lot easier. So we've got 6 cords going to our caravan lead plug. So that's one coming from the solar charger, the DC-DC, the AC-DC, one from each terminal. So we've got 2 fuse box and 1 from the battery box below. Now you obviously also need to fuse and get power to your inverter. We are bypassing this system because the inverter needs a 450 amp hour fuse. So, and it's using a lot more power than the rest. So what we've got is we've got 250 amp hour caravan plugs, 1 positive and 1 negative, and that is just enough. I think we added up, the absolute total was about 240 amps for this setup. So they work really well. And as you can see here, 1 goes from there to the bottom of the terminal, to the bottom of the fuse, the terminal box. I can never remember the name of it. The fuse box, 1 lead goes to that and 1 goes to the other on the other side. Little cool side note that I've just learnt. You can see this is one of our battery monitors. You can see this is our monitor and it's got nowhere to screw it in. You just pop off the top, because on the back you can see that there's 2 screw holes. You just click off the top, screw it in, put it in. No screw holes. The same goes for our water monitor. I didn't know that. Snazzy. So we've got our nice little spot just behind our seat. That is going to be our little hub for all our monitors, everything like that. We're going to put our fan remote here as well, whatever we can fit. And yeah, so we can see the state of the van. And perk of this, super close to the batteries and all our electrical work. So to run the batteries, positive to positive, negative to negative.
That's to run them in parallel.
We've got a divider to keep them an even amount apart so they get good airflow. So what we're doing to finish off the battery box today is we're strapping it down so there's no chance of them moving. I mean, they're super heavy, they're probably not going to move anyway, but always better to be safe. So just using some straps, putting them in, strapping them down, and I need to help Dad because that's very heavy.
And then that's the positive terminal here, correct? Yeah. Okay, that's right.
Now, our battery setup is very difficult to get things in and out, but hey, it's not something you need to do very often. We've also got a piece of timber to stop them from moving side to side. Again, making it more difficult to get in and out, but it's good when it's in there.
What do you reckon, Terry?
I reckon we're just about, I just got to screw those 2 little screws in there. And ready to get fired up.
Flick the switch.
Flick the switch. Hope for the best.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. You're that crossed. So
You have to put an adapter on because from the van it's 15 amp, from normal household it's 10, so this is the adapter. It's a bit tricky to use. There are dodgy ways you can do this, but this was on special at Audi today. Which one's the van one?
that goes into the thing.
This goes into the wall.
I hope you got that.
Oh, it's not normally. I mean, it's been there for a while, but there's no gate.
It's concreted in. It's been there for a while.
You can plug that in because it's not switched on. I made a joke. It did not go down well.
Switch it up.
Okay, it's on.
It's on.
It's charging. Power mode is just on. That's it.
So you should only have to do that once, don't I?
Yeah, this is how you feel reading things. Silent. Yeah, cool. It's on with what, LiFePo 4. Cool. It's charging.
Woohoo!
So we've got a there's power, fault, full, or charging. It's on the light's on power and charging. It's on LiFePo and it's on silent. Yay!
So that's our full electrical install. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned a few things along the way. Please consider subscribing, liking and commenting below, as it really helps small channels like ours. Tune in next time as we get the ceilings and walls fitted in and really hit the home straight on this build.
That's fun. Classic MBS.